My name is Hunter at Weather on the Go. On this Friday, August the 8th, 2025, a significant flooding event is possible across the Midwest this weekend, along with severe weather with damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. We're going to go through areas that will be affected by these storms this weekend, as well as your long-range update, your update on your fire weather outlook, and your tropical weather update. So make sure if you are here, if you like straightforward, accurate, and reliable weather coverage across southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel as we do two-a-days when it's active, and we do daily videos every single day. So make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it throughout, and share the video with a friend, a family member, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. So let's get started. Let's first talk about the heat. Big ridge of high pressure here across the desert southwest of New Mexico, Arizona, even nosing its way eastward into West Texas. Here are your high temperatures that we achieved this afternoon, and notice more record highs were definitely recorded from portions of the Southwest Plains back there into Arizona and New Mexico. And there were a lot of triple digits out there, including much of the state of Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Southern California, Southern Nevada, you name it. Also quite hot up here, even though it doesn't look like it. Into the Midwest, those heat index values are around 100 degrees with the evapotranspiration of the corn crop, sending those heat index values in places like Chicago, Des Moines, and St. Louis, even Indianapolis, near 100 degrees this afternoon. In fact, here's where our temperatures go for your Saturday morning on August 9th. We're waking up with record warm lows up here across much of the Great Lakes and the Midwest and even parts of the plains, where low temperatures we're going to be anywhere from the low and middle 70s. And here we go as we go into tomorrow afternoon. Back into the triple digits we go here into parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, and also back into the desert Southwest. It's still going to be pretty hot up here into the Ohio Valley on the warm side of the boundary. And that's where heat indexes could once again reach up and around 100 degrees for your Saturday and your Sunday. In fact, we do have heat advisories in orange that extend from the Midwest down there into the Southern Plains and Red River Valley. Out west, those magenta colors, those are extreme heat watches and warnings where they're gearing up for a continuation of heat out there as we go through this upcoming weekend. Let's turn your attention here to the Midwest. See the green area there from southern Wisconsin into western and northwest Illinois and parts of eastern Iowa. That is a flash flood watch where they actually are expecting potentially some flash flooding as we go into this upcoming weekend. So let's talk about it here. And it also comes with an attendant severe weather threat. So not only are we talking about potentially a significant flash flooding risk, we're also looking at potentially some severe weather on top of that. Here's the outlook for this evening. We have a yellow area. That's a slight risk where scattered severe thunderstorms are possible from northern Wisconsin and the western UP of Michigan through much of the state of Minnesota and nosing its way back there toward the Dakotas and Nebraska. And that is where we have the threat for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts there, especially in yellow. Quarter-size hail, again, especially in yellow. And we also have a chance for a couple of tornadoes in brown and central Minnesota. That is a 5% chance of tornadoes. In the green, that is a 2% chance, and that is all within a 25-mile radius of any given point in or around that area. It doesn't stop there. So as we go into tomorrow on Saturday, August 9th, another yellow area, that is a slight risk where scattered severe thunderstorms will be possible from the Green Bay area down through Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin, into Rockford, Illinois, Davenport, and all the way back into Iowa. So Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, and Iowa City, including the University of Iowa, and then back here into eastern Colorado. And then in the dark green, that is where we have an isolated threat for severe weather. Again, we're looking at 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts looking possible from Wisconsin into northwest Illinois and eastern Iowa. And we're also looking at the threat for hail a little bit lower up there in the Midwest because our temperatures will be warm, limiting the growth of hail. But there could be potentially some big hail in eastern Colorado. See the black outline there? That's where we could see baseball size hail. And then as we look at the tornado risk, it's not zero, but it is low. We have across areas from Milwaukee, Madison, down into Rockford, Extending down to the Davenport Quad Cities, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and then just north of Kansas City Metro, that's a 2% chance in green. Same thing over here in eastern Colorado, a 2% chance of tornadoes in green within, again, a 25-mile radius. So let's break it down better for you here. We're going to look at the central United States view. We'll turn over to the eastern U.S., talk about that, and then we'll look at the western U.S. after that. Looking here at your surface-based CAPE, this is your convective available potential energy this afternoon and evening. Notice it is plentiful. Where you see these purples and whites, almost charcoal looking colors, this is where we have extreme amounts of storm energy, over 4,000, even over 5,000 joules per kilogram here this evening. That will be definitely taken advantage of by some storms. And then as we go into your Saturday, notice maybe not as high, but still some pretty strong storm energy out here, where you see the oranges and reds over 3,000 joules per kilogram of storm energy there for Saturday. So as we go through the evening hours, we're going to watch isolated thunderstorm cells popping up back here into the plains. Those are going to cluster up as we go into overnight tonight. Could bring a line of some severe thunderstorms through the Twin Cities vicinity and Duluth as we go through the midnight time frame through around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. This could also cause a lot of frequent lightning and some hail. And then looking at portions of central Nebraska, that's where we could see along the I-80 corridor back here, potentially some scattered thunderstorms. Now, 7 a.m. on Saturday could be a noisy start for our friends over there into the UP of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, back here into Iowa and eastern Nebraska, as storms will start the day. And then as they push eastward, they will intensify back into another line as they approach portions there of the Milwaukee metropolitan area, Madison, Janesville, and Monroe, Rockford, down toward Davenport, and then getting into the Kirksville, Missouri area and Fort Madison. We could be seeing potentially a line of severe weather as we go into mid to late afternoon on Saturday. And then moving further east, although it does weaken once it gets closer to the Chicagoland. So I think the highest threat is along and west of the I-39 corridor and also along and north of the I-80 corridor as we go into the day on Saturday. And notice these storms are going to be training over the same areas with very heavy torrential rain. So not only are we seeing a severe weather threat with damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes, but also a flash flooding threat, significant flash flooding threat here. Notice our rainfall totals here, and this is, again, over a widespread area. Southern Wisconsin, western and northwest Illinois, eastern Iowa, and northeast Missouri could be over 3 inches worth of rainfall. In fact, we look here at the flooding risk going into tomorrow. There is a rare moderate risk for flash flooding from areas near Madison, Wisconsin, into Dubuque, Iowa, and Rockford, Illinois, back there into Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and Davenport, Kirksville, Missouri. And then as we go into Sunday, very similar areas, maybe just a touch further to the south. What does that mean? What's a moderate risk for flash flooding? That means numerous flash floods are likely, and it could be significant in some areas. Many streams may flood and potentially affecting larger tributary rivers here. So we're going to be watching the Rock River there into northern Illinois. We're going to be watching the Mississippi River as well. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye on those tributary rivers heading into early next week. Now, as we look here at the eastern United States, fairly quiet, and you can see in the blue, that's where we have sunshine. The white is the cloud cover. Lots of sun-splashed skies across the Ohio Valley and the Northeast today, and that was actually sending our temperatures up there into very warm territory. Is more of a typical summer day out there. That will continue as we go into tonight. Nothing really to worry about unless you're down here into coastal Carolina, especially the low country of South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, especially the east coast of Florida from Jacksonville down to Miami. Could be some showers and storms overnight. Starting the day pretty quiet there across the eastern U.S. all told as we go into Saturday, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. And then as we go through the day, again, we're going to see a lot of sunshine once again across the Ohio Valley, up into the Northeast, with more cloud cover building in across upstate New York and northern Vermont going into Saturday evening. Also cloud cover building with some showers and storms across the Southeast, especially for Georgia and Florida going into Saturday as well. Rainfall, not really looking at that for the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and some of the Northeast could see a couple showers, but I think most of us should have many dry hours as we go through the weekend. And then down here into Florida and Georgia and the coastal Carolina, especially again coastal South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, those areas, could be seeing an inch or so of rainfall through Sunday morning. Out west, we're looking at some thunderstorm activity across the Rockies as we go here in through the overnight hours. Low pressure system is going to track from Montana up into the southern Canadian prairies of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and it will swing some thunderstorms down from Canada at times into portions of North Dakota, but also into Montana. And then as we go through the day on Saturday, maybe some monsoonal flow and some severe weather in eastern Colorado as well. Overall, rainfall is going to be kind of hit and miss out here. An area near the low pressure there in northeastern Montana could see some rain, eastern Colorado off the Front Range, or maybe some monsoonal flow in southeastern Arizona. Other than that, it is bone dry out west. And any folks that are asking me questions earlier today about California, yeah, you're going to be dry as we go through the weekend ahead. Now let's look at Sunday, August 10th. We're going to be seeing isolated severe thunderstorms possible again from the central Great Lakes down into the Midwest and into the plains and Front Range of the Rockies, including central and eastern Colorado. And looking at this, ongoing storm complexes with flash flooding risk across the Midwest there on Sunday morning. Additional storms may fire in the afternoon, although the morning storms may limit the severity of the storms in the afternoon, with cloud cover keeping the instability down there for areas like Chicago, Rockford, and the Davenport Quad Cities. But there could be some stronger storms down there from Amarillo, say, into the Wichita area, so be keeping an eye on that for Sunday. And looking at next week, here's the long-range part of your forecast. Temperatures between Monday, August 11th and Friday, August 15th are going to tend to be warmer across the United States, with a little bit more of normal to slightly below normal temperatures favored near the Gulf Coast and into the southeast, and a lot of that has to do with some rain-cooled air. Now, here we go into next week. It's not going to be extraordinarily hot or anything, typical of summer, but maybe leaning a little bit above normal in temperatures that are going to be getting into the 90s here once we get into the middle of August, which is slightly above normal from what we should see even across portions of the Central Plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Mid-Atlantic. There will be some cooler areas, North Dakota, northern Minnesota, enjoying the upper 70s throughout the week. And then again, yeah, the desert Southwest, it is a desert, so it will be hotter as we go through next week there as well. Precipitation is going to be main storm track in southern Canada, and we are going to see some dry time into the northern plains, upper Midwest, which giving us a break from the severe weather next week. There will be a frontal boundary still kind of setting up shop from the lower parts of the Midwest, like Missouri and Illinois, into the Illinois Valley, and then across portions of the southern Great Lakes that could bring us periodic chances of showers and storms next week, although the main focus again will be tropical moisture down the southeast that just doesn't want to go away. A lot of heavy rainfall down there in Georgia again, South Carolina, and Florida. Here's the European model's thoughts on rainfall. Again, it's hit or miss across portions of the Midwest, southern Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley. Same thing down here into the southeast. Even with tropical moisture, the GFS, the American model guidance, is very similar as well. So that's what we see. Drier out west, though, is the trend next week. Let's turn over here to your tropical weather update and look at the East Pacific Basin first. We have two tropical storms that still rage across the East Pacific. We have a tropical storm Henriette there getting close to Hawaii. We also have tropical storm Evo just west of Mexico, and that will be crossing south of the Baja of California over the next few hours. Let's first talk about tropical storm Henriette. This is going to get close to the Hawaiian Islands, but it's not enough to make any direct impacts. In fact, it will be strengthening to a Category 1 hurricane as soon as late Sunday into Monday. But again, this is going to go north of Hawaii, so no direct impacts to the Hawaiian Islands, but it is right now maximum sustained winds 40 miles per hour, moving due west at 17 miles per hour. And then here is tropical storm Evo just to the west of Mexico and south of the Baja of California at this hour, moving west here at 16 miles per hour and maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour. So this is a pretty strong tropical storm right now. It will be encountering a hostile environment, and what I mean by that is a tropical storm or hurricane love warm waters, and it's going to be moving into an environment that is hostile to them because it's going to be encountering cooler waters as we go through the next couple of days. So let's look at that here. Let's first look at Henriette. It's going to get very close to the Hawaiian Islands, moving just north of Hawaii. Again, this is not as close as it could be. It could be a lot closer. So indirect impacts, yes, there could be some swelling of some of the waves out there, perhaps, maybe even a rip current risk or something like that. But again, the biggest of the waves will be offshore and potentially well offshore of the coastlines there of Hawaii, and that is some great news. But if you are boating just to the north of Hawaii, make sure you are taking your proper precautions for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, as those ocean waves will swell potentially upwards to 20 feet as we go north of Hawaii there early next week. Here is Tropical Storm Evo, just due south of the Baja of California, moving west and west-northwest is 16 miles per hour. It's going to wash out very quickly as we go through Sunday and Monday because it is encountering, again, a hostile environment for a tropical storm or hurricane standards, which is cooler water. And again, tropical storms, hurricanes do not like the cool water, and that is why it will be weakening. You can see those water temperature anomalies are well below the historical average there west of the Baja of California, and again, that is why we're going to see it weaken. Let's move over here to the Atlantic. Very, very active over here as well. Now, we did have Dexter. That was a post-tropical cyclone. That has since gone. A 10% chance of a system developing off the mid-Atlantic coast there and off the coast of North Carolina. Probably won't happen. And then we have a lowering chance. It was first a 60%, then a 50%. Now it's a 40% chance in orange here. A tropical wave in the central main development region that's curving out well away from any source of land. In fact, that is well east of Bermuda. So this is a fish storm if it develops. And the next name would be Aaron with an E. And we are looking perhaps at another system and a robust signal here in the long range. So another area of concern moving off the monsoonal flow of the Saharan Desert in Africa into the main development region as soon as this evening. Now, this is again well away from any source of land besides moving off of Africa, and it's going to be moving here into the eastern and eventually the central main development region by early this upcoming week. And there is some model support for this. So the ensemble guidance is the most responsible way to look at this. If you're seeing folks out there putting out individual model runs like the European, the GFS, the Canadian, the Icon, whatever it may be, it is hogwash, folks. There's no reason to be looking at any individual model runs at this point. What we're trying to figure out is the system's track for one, but also the kind of what the models are showing like as members, right? This is an ensemble guidance, so this is showing different members, and this is made up of 51 members, and it shows that low pushing into the central main development region by the time we get to Tuesday morning on August 12th. And then by the time we get to a week from today, yes, a week from today, 174 hours out, it is still well east of the Lesser Antilles, although there are some members that show it getting closer there, and there are some robust members as well. And that's as far out as we're going to go. And then we see the European AI ensemble guidance, again, made up of several members. And you can see by a week from today, very similar, not yet quite to the Lesser Antilles, but there are some members showing tropical depression, tropical storm, even low-end Category 1 hurricane status here to the east of the Lesser Antilles from a week from today. And then we look at the GFS ensemble, maybe not as many members, there's 21 of them, but you can see a week from today, that system is getting close there to the Lesser Antilles, and right now it looks to be north and east of the Lesser Antilles. So we have a week to figure this out, folks. It's not like we're running out of time. There's plenty of time to watch this system. There's definitely no need to panic. And if you were looking at any individual model runs, again, it is hogwash. They are going to change around. One run, it'll show it in the Caribbean. One run, it'll show it into the Western Atlantic and Southwest Atlantic. Another run, it has it moving up the East Coast. We have no idea past the Lesser Antilles where this system will track. And that's what we're going to figure out as we go through the week. Now, the environment, though, if it does pass across those areas into the Southwest Atlantic after next Friday, it could get interesting because there are some warmer water temperatures out here into the Southwest Atlantic, into the Western Caribbean, and especially the Gulf. In fact, they are well above the historical average. So it is something that we are watching, definitely, but is nothing to be overly concerned about and panic about at this point. And there's another caveat, kind of a wrench thrown in the forecast, is there are still a lot of plumes of dust coming off the coast of Africa, which could kind of impede and also suppress this system from really taking off, right? Regardless of water temperatures, you need a hurricane to still ventilate. It's just like a filter in your home. If you're having the heat on or the air on, you want to clean the filter, right? So the air air is the cleanest it could possibly be so it can ventilate. The same thing with the hurricane is that you want the hurricane to ventilate with clean air, and if you have dry air and dust, that's not going to be proper ventilation for a hurricane. So that's something we're going to watch as well to see how this dry air and the dust off the Saharan desert in Africa kind of impedes and kind of suppresses this system as we go into the early on stages of it. And you can see the dry air kind of right in front of that wave there. There's that wave we're watching early next week coming off of Africa, and that is the same one we're showing just to the northeast of the Lesser Antilles. But notice the dry air tongue here, and that again could suppress this system from really taking off very quickly, and even though the warm waters are still there. So that's something we got to figure out as we move into next week. But again, stay away from looking at individual model runs. There is no use in those at this point. It is all ensemble guidance. So that is what we're looking at here in my weather forecast anyway. So if you like straightforward, accurate, and reliable weather coverage for southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics, you got them right here. Subscribe to the channel. We'll have another video forecast out for you tomorrow. We do daily weather forecasts right here on the channel. So subscribe, like the video, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it throughout and you found it detailed, informative, and life-saving. Also share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, surely jot them down in the comment section down below this video. I want to hear from you. And any comments that you do have, I'll answer them as promptly as I can. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for all your support, and have a wonderful and safe rest of your Friday out there.